The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane, Words to Know. Ordeal, a hard or painful experience. Climbing the mountain was an ordeal. Pummel, to hit over and over again. The bear will pummel the pillow. Glimpse, to quickly see something. Descent, going down. She is starting her descent of the stairs.
Hello friends, welcome back. It is nice to see you again. So yesterday when we read The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane, poor Edward was thrown overboard and into the ocean, and then he sank to the bottom of the ocean. And so that is where we are starting today. Here we go, chapter 7. He told himself that certainly Abilene would come and find him. This, Edward thought, is much like waiting for Abilene to come home from school. I will pretend that I am in the dining room of the house on Egypt Street, waiting for that little hand to move to the 3 and the big hand to land on the 12. If only I had my watch, then I would know for sure. But it doesn't matter. She'll be here soon, very soon. Hours passed, and then days, and weeks, and months. Abilene did not come. Edward, for lack of anything better to do, began to think. He thought about the stars. He remembered what they looked like from his bedroom window. What made them shine so brightly, he wondered, and were they still shining somewhere, even though he could not see them? Never in my life, he thought, have I been farther away from the stars than I am right now. He considered, too, the fate of the beautiful princess who had become a warthog. Why had she become a warthog? Because the ugly witch turned her into one, that is why. And then the rabbit thought about Pellegrina. He felt in some way that he could not explain to himself that she was responsible for what had happened to him. It was almost like she, not those boys, had thrown Edward overboard. She was like the witch in the story. No, she was the witch in the story. True, she did not turn him into a warthog, but just the same, she was punishing him. Although for what, he could not say. On the 297th day of Edward's ordeal, a storm came. The storm was so powerful that it lifted Edward off the ocean floor and led him in a crazy, wild, and spinning dance. The water pummeled at him and lifted him up and shoved him back down. Help, thought Edward. The storm and its ferocity actually flung him all the way out of the sea, and the rabbit glimpsed for a moment the light of an angry and bruised sky. The wind rushed through his ears. It sounded to him like Pellegrina was laughing. But before he had time to appreciate being above the water, he was tossed back down into the depths. Up and down, back and forth he went until the storm wore itself out, and Edward saw that he was beginning again his slow descent to the ocean floor. Oh, help me, he thought. I can't go back there. Help me. But still, down he went. Down, down, down. And then suddenly, the great wide net of a fisherman reached out and grabbed that rabbit. The net lifted him higher and higher until there was almost an unbearable explosion of light, and Edward was back in the world, lying on the deck of a ship, and he was surrounded by fish. What's this? Said a voice. Ain't no fish, said another voice. That's for sure. The light was so bright that it was hard for Edward to see, but finally shapes appeared out of the light, and then faces, and Edward realized that he was looking up at 2 men, one young and one old. Looks like some toy, said the old grizzled man. He bent down and picked Edward up and held him by the front paws, considering him. Yes, it's a rabbit, I reckon. It's got whiskers, or rabbit ears, or maybe the shape of rabbit ears at least. Yeah, sure, it's a rabbit toy, said the younger man, and then he turned away. Well, I'll take this home to Nellie. Let her fix it up, set it to rights. Give it to some child." The old man placed Edward carefully on a crate, and he positioned him so that he was sitting up and he could look out at the ocean. Edward appreciated how nice it was of him to do this. But he was sick of the ocean, and he would have been satisfied never to see it again. "There you go," said the old man. As they made their way back to shore, Edward felt the sun on his face and the wind blowing through the little bit of fur that was left on his ears, and something filled his chest, something wonderful. He was glad to be alive. "Oh, look at that rabbit," said the old man. "Looks like he's enjoying the ride, doesn't it?" Yeah, said the young man. In fact, Edward Tulane was so happy to be back with the living that he was not even upset at being called an it. Chapter 8. On land, the old fisherman stopped to light his pipe, and then with the pipe clenched between his teeth, he walked home, carrying Edward on top of his left shoulder like he was a conquering hero. The fisherman balanced him there, placing a calloused hand at Edward's back. He talked to him in a soft, low voice as they walked. "Oh, you'll like Nellie, you will," said the old man. "She's had her sadness, but she's an all right girl." Edward looked at the small town, blanketed in dusk, a jumble of buildings huddled together. The ocean stretched out in front of it all, and he thought that he would like anything and anybody that was not at the bottom of the sea. "Hello, Lawrence," called a woman from the front of a shop. "What have you got there?" "Well, fresh catch," said the fisherman. "Fresh rabbit of the sea." He lifted his cap to the lady and kept walking. "Oh, there you are now," said the fisherman. He took his pipe out of his mouth and pointed with the stem of it at a star in the purpling sky. "There's your North Star right there. You'll never have to be lost when you know where that fellow is." Edward considered the brightness of the small star. "Do they have names?" he wondered. "Do they all have names?" "Listen to me," said the fisherman. "I'm talking to a toy." "Oh, well, here we are then." And with Edward still on his shoulder, the fisherman walked up the stone-lined path and into a little green house. Hey, look here, Nellie," he said. "I brought you something from the sea." "I don't want nothing from the sea," came the voice. Now, don't be like that now. Come and see then." An old woman stepped out of the kitchen, wiping her hands on an apron. When she saw Edward, she dropped the apron and clapped her hands together and said, "Oh, Lawrence, you brought me a rabbit." "Direct from the sea," said Lawrence. He took Edward off his shoulder and stood up on the floor, and held him out with his hands and made him take a deep bow in the direction of Nellie. "Oh," said Nellie, "here." And she clapped her hands together again, and Lawrence passed Edward to her. Nellie held the rabbit out in front of her and looked him over from tip to toe, and she smiled. "Oh, have you ever in your life seen anything so fine?" she said. Edward felt immediately that Nellie was a very smart woman. "Oh, she is beautiful," breathed Nellie. For a moment, Edward was confused. Was there something else in this room that was beautiful? "What will I call her?" Susanna," said Lawrence. "Oh, yes, that's just right," said Nellie. "Susanna." And then she looked deep into Edward's eyes. "First off, Susanna, you need clothes, don't you?" And that's the end of chapter 8. Oh my goodness. Poor Edward. Now they think he's a girl, but at least he's out of the ocean. So my question for you today is this. At the end of chapter 7, when Edward was being put onto the ship, and then the old fisherman set him up so he could see the ocean, and Edward could feel the sun on his face and the wind in his ears, he felt another emotion. So we know he has felt fear. He's been scared. And now he's feeling like he's glad and happy to be alive. It says that his chest filled up because he was so happy to be alive. So I would love to know and hear from you, what makes you happy to be alive? I know a lot of things make me happy to be alive, but I think at the top of the list would have to be my children. And my children are older now. They are 19 and 21. And so it makes me really happy that I am alive to see them turning into adults and to see the choices they make and the things that they do. It's exciting and fun to watch them grow up like this. I also know that another thing that makes me happy to be alive is teaching. I miss it like crazy. Not being at school is really hard for my heart because teaching every day makes me just feel happy. I love being around the kids, and I love teaching lessons, and I love watching you learn. So those are the things that make me happy to be alive. What makes you happy, glad to be alive? Think about it and let me know. I can't wait to hear what you say. Thanks for listening again, and I am excited to read you another couple of chapters tomorrow. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.